telling your followers that you've started a live video. Let's go to Glenna. Hey, look at you, join Glenna. How do I add you? View request. Go live. Glenna, are you there? Look at you! This is amazing. I am so glad that this actually, look how big our heads are on the screen.
A bit more body, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know you. We were both thinking that, and then like I'm sitting by this window and it keeps changing the light on my face, and I go from being like somewhat presentable to all of a sudden the crypt keeper, like I'm fully risen from the dead. I mean, I'm currently in Alberta, so there's no water around in the air, so I'm just really dehydrated.
You're in Alberta?
Yeah,
I thought you were in LA.
I came up here just for a few days to see some family and see some whatnot. But how are you?
I'm good. Just hanging out.
Looking fresh. Looking frosty.
Working?
You what?
I can't believe we got this working.
I know, so seamlessly. So we welcome everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining and for all the love. Look at you. I'm so flattered. I'm so sweaty too. Like I just got really nervous. This is our first Instagram live together. This is maybe it's not our last, but I guess we'll just like get started. We're just basically gonna have a conversation today. So we're gonna thank our host, which is Kino, which is obviously the Instagram page that we're on. Kino is a new film company that democratizes film and is ensuring that people actually get involved in the magic of movie making, and that those people in the magic of movie making are being properly compensated for their work. They also champion underrepresented and diverse stories. And all of this just has a very beautiful focus on community. And this is part of the reason why we're doing this today. We're so excited that you people are here and that you are participating and enjoying it already. It's like super flattering, but also really like heightening my anxiety. So we'll just get started. I want to introduce everybody to the incredible Glenna Walters. Glenna is an actress, writer, comedian, and probably the most lovable person you have ever met. So just be prepared to fall in love today and leave here having a new crush. She has been in Anne with an E, Why the Last Man, The Baroness von Sketch Show, and you were filming something recently too. Which one was that?
I don't think I can say what it is yet.
Oh, because she's talented. She's super important. That's the secrecy of Hollywood. I mean, we've all been there. And today we're just going to be talking about her experiences on Anne with an E, which is the show that we met on, and how she got her start into the industry, and how, if you're interested too, you could possibly get your start into the industry. And for those who are not familiar with Anne with an E, which is going to be like quite surprising because I'm very, very confident that at least 99% of the people watching right now are fans of the show or have at least watched the show. But for the 1% that hasn't, Anne with an E is based off of the beloved classic novel by Lucy Maud Montgomery called Anne of Green Gables. The plot starts off with an elderly brother and sister needing help running their farm in 1880s Prince Edward Island, Canada. Canada, where we both are currently, just not in the same part of the country. And they request a boy orphan to be sent so that they can help them on the farm. And instead, they accidentally receive a young woman who comes in and challenges the community, changes minds, changes hearts, changes souls, and teaches all of us to think outside of the box. That last part was on my head, so it just came up right now. I'm pretty proud of myself. Did I miss anything? Anything you want to add?
No, I think that was great.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess to continue for those who don't know, Glenna played Tilly Bolter. That was your last name, right? Bolter? Remember?
Yep.
I hit that B so hard too. Tilly Bolter, who was a sweet, precocious student in the classroom alongside Anne, the Anne of Green Gables, and stole basically every scene that she was in with her comedic presence and her comedic timing. Just a genius from the get-go. So since we're starting from the get-go, do you want to talk about your your experiences, like from auditioning, how it came about, how you got into the show, and then like we can go on from the trajectory afterwards. But let's start at the core. Like, what was the
Okay.
very beginning process for you of your Anne journey?
Apparently, it's
Yeah.
a bit of a weird, crazy one. Not like crazy. I was 15 in high school. Isn't that crazy? I was 15.
I know we were both 15 at the time. It was so nuts.
Um, and I went to like an arts high school, and they were doing an open casting call for a show.
Mm-hmm.
Our arts teachers were basically like, you, all of you guys auditioning. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
great. Never done an audition before. Love it.
Yeah.
Had no idea what I was doing. So we did an audition in the school and called some of us back to like do an audition in the studio. I was to the point where they're like, do a slate. And I was like, what's a slate? And they're
Yeah.
like,
What is the slate? Tell the people what the slate is, because then
it's like usually how you start off your audition by saying your name, your height, where you're based. Like I would be based in Toronto.
mm-hmm.
Started usually, but I literally had no idea what my height was, and they're like, "Your height," and I was like,
You're like
"I
this tall.
hope," and they're
Yeah,
like,
on a good day. And
"Definitely."
then in terms of the content that you were auditioning with, like what kind of scenes were you reading? Was it fertility in particular? Was it stuff that you ended up doing in the show?
Yeah, it was for Tilly. It was for the first scene the girls were in when we're introduced to Anne, and I'm like, "I love to read." It's like, "No, you don't." "No, I don't." That was the scene I auditioned with.
And did that all happen in like one day, or is that over time? Like the for you being brought back, was it like they brought everybody in and then you just got selected from the group and were pulled into a smaller group, or was it like we're gonna bring her back?
It was like a big group of me and my like high school friends, and then it was a smaller group for in the studio and
Mm-hmm.
another callback, and that was just me.
Mm. And had you always wanted to be um, in the entertainment industry, storytelling, or like how did you get to your school, which was also a performing arts high school, and then where did you find the courage to do the audition?
I always thought I was going to be a Broadway star. I wanted to be on Broadway, wanted to be in Wicked. Like
It's
that
coming.
that's what I thought my plan was going to be, and I didn't really ever think, I mean, I wanted to be in movies and TV shows, but I didn't ever think I'd have the opportunity. So
Mm,
I got this audition. I didn't even know it was for Netflix. I thought it was like a doc, not a docu, but like a mini series on like an obscure channel.
yeah.
And I didn't find out it was Netflix until the first day on set.
No way. Did
And
that help? Did that help you with your process?
I think it I think it did. I think I would have like freaked out
Yeah,
if
me
I
too.
known.
Uh-huh.
But I also like at first I didn't think I thought I didn't get it because I didn't like hear for like a week and a half. And I was like,
Mm,
I'll get
how did you
on
feel when you were doing your audition? Like, what was it like? Because was this your first like film and
ever,
TV audition ever?
ever.
Oh, what a
I
way to come out of the gate! Like, this is classic you.
oh it
Just
was no, I didn't have an agent. It was just kind of like a read this. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But I
mm,
helped me where
yeah,
I think at times now whenever I do auditions I get like way too excited. I'm like, this film's in Newfoundland? Great, I'm gonna move to Newfoundland, and I like
yeah,
pressure.
yeah, yeah.
It, it helped her. It was kind of like this is just a really cool experience to like read a television script in front of people.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's also funny to think about how, like, I mean, I'm the exact same way. If I know too many details of a project, I go, oh God, that's big. Oh God, that's big. And then, like, it's like, build the pressure, build the pressure, build the pressure. It become like a little teapot with a lid. And then if there's too many amazing things, it explodes. But then also, I have a wild imagination, and I'm sure you do too. When you get the breakdown, and then all of a sudden they're like, you could be making this much money, you'd be gone for this, like for this long, you'd be in this country doing this, working with these people, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't wait to become best friends with them. With that money, I can buy this, and then I'll move there. Should I just go to the store now and get a new wardrobe? And like, I
I know.
jump ahead of the gun, and then you don't even get a call back.
Oh, and then it's like the most earth-shattering thing where you're like, oh, what in life is.
And so then where were you at when you did find out? What was your experience? What were you feeling?
I found out on my lunch break during high school. My friends and I were at a Chinese restaurant, and I was eating just like plain rice. And I got an email, and it was like, we'd like to book Glenna Walters. And I was like, and then I sobbed in this restaurant. And then I had to run to my high school to go to my art teachers and be like, what do I do? It was great.
Oh, we're talking about, for the people's context, we're talking about when Glenna found out that she booked Anne with an E, and the moment of when her life changed, because this was her very first audition ever, and it was her very first booking ever, and it happened to be the massive, beautiful phenomenon that has reached the world. There's so many people here. I see Spanish, I see Portuguese. There's the Brazilians have waved, and so like, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you can understand what we're saying, because I do not have the capabilities to translate. Just a simple boy. Just a simple boy. But yes, that's where we are at. So now you've booked the show. You have attended a performing arts high school, and it is your first day on set. Please describe to me your first moments, your inner world, your outer world, stepping into costume, meeting everybody. I also want to know your first impressions of everyone too. So just buckle up.
First day, I got a shuttle. I didn't know what a shuttle was. Basically, a shuttle is a driver who comes to pick you up and takes you to set. Mm-hmm. And at call times, I think my call time was like 7:30 a.m. And the shuttle showed up like half an hour early. And I like look at my mom, I'm like, oh my God, he's already here. Oh, we gotta go. Keep in mind, you just let them wait until it's your call time, then you can get in.
But you're a good student. You want to be on time.
I had no idea. So we like rush to get ready. We drive an hour out. Again, I am so early. Half an hour. And I think we were doing a blocking first. We didn't go to costumes first. We did a blocking right to set. Hopped out of the shuttle, middle of a field, pitch till like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
No idea what to do. My mom and I are just standing there like absolutely not a clue. And I think I like asked someone, I was like, where am I supposed to go? Because there were A's. Like that's how early I was that the A's weren't even on set yet. So then so early.
Damn.
Yeah, so I walked down to the schoolhouse and I just kind of stood there as like crew were putting in the desks. It was.
How long were you there before somebody came and got you?
I think it was like 15 minutes of me standing and watching people do their jobs.
In the middle of a field on a farm in rural Ontario.
Yeah.
Also, that's a little tidbit of behind the scenes. The show was not actually filmed entirely in Prince Edward Island. It was predominantly in Pickering, Ontario. But it made for a really great substitute. So while you're there, you're waiting. Is this like helping or hindering you? Are you getting like, I'm relaxing, I'm getting to know the set, or is it like, where am I supposed to be? I've already screwed up, I'm about to get fired, imposter syndrome setting in?
Oh yeah, I think I was just so lost that I was just like, in my head, I was like, I'm so out of place. It's like a 15-year-old girl with like a bunch of like adults who are like going in this way and bringing a huge desk in that door. But thankfully, like other people started showing up. I think it was, I can't remember who was the first kid I saw. I think it was probably Leah or Kaya.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I like love them now, but it was so awkward because we were all like, "Hi, who do you play? Who do you play?" And it was
That's the
cute.
perfect impersonation of them.
Yeah. And then and I remember being so intimidated by Miranda. It was also like I remember she came in with the thinnest coat because she didn't know that it was going to be so cold in Canada because Miranda's from New Jersey.
Hmm. And she lives in California now, so she's
Yeah,
probably has even a thinner coat.
100%. But no, it was sweet where it was kind of like we're all so nervous, so excited, and none of us had been on a set. Well, I'd never been on a set, but everyone else had not been on a set that big.
Mm. Hmm.
But yeah,
So what made you feel so intimidated by Miranda?
I don't know. She just like walked in. I was like, oh, because I think I like knew she was playing Josie and like Josie's like a mean girl. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like it's easy to play and do.
Hmm.
And then she walks in and then she was like the sweetest thing. And it was like, oh my God, I love you.
And she's the nicest person, but she was also so cool. So I get it.
I
Why anyone would be.
well, tidbit, I'm wearing a matching necklace that her and I have.
Oh.
Love her.
And um, and then what scene were you doing for your first day?
It was that scene where we get introduced to Anne, and I say like that I like to read too. It
Ah.
was a tough day, I will say.
Mm.
Honestly, one in general was tough. Not
Why? Why was that?
I like because I was in high school at the time. I did not know how to like mix those two well of being on set for like 10 hours, but then also having to do homework.
Hmm.
So it's hard to mix it together.
Hmm.
And so we filmed the first scene and I didn't know what background action meant. I thought that was
Yeah.
background. I'd like start saying my line and they're like, oh no, you gotta wait. So I literally just had no idea what was happening. I didn't know what a craft truck was. I didn't know craft trucks were where you could go get snacks. You know what I mean? Like I had no clue what I was doing.
Mm.
That was a
And
little,
how did you navigate all of that, like, taking in all of that new knowledge about like where to go, who to speak to? Did you have anybody as a guide, or did you just
no,
kind of like take it till you make it?
I think I faked it till I made it. Like obviously I would like talk to the other girls and like see what they say, but I think all of us were so brand new to it that we just
Yeah.
had no idea what was going on.
Mm, like one of you was like, "Yeah, let's go to craft," and the others were like, "Yeah, yeah, let's go to crafts."
I
I
know.
love craft. Craft
Or
is the best.
AD comes like, "Can I get you any food?" It's like, "No, like you don't have to get me. Like I will go get myself food. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry."
yeah.
You know what
I brought my own lunch.
I know.
Yeah, you don't have to buy anything for me. And for those who don't know, the craft is what you call the people and the place that just have food all the time because it's important to keep people nourished on set. And so we're also doing a little bit of an educational thing here,
Yeah, I love it.
um, thing here as well. So what would you say that like not knowing the terminology or not knowing how the set functions was your biggest challenge in season one, or was there personal things you were like overcoming or um,
I think it was like definitely imposter syndrome where it like didn't feel like I was like good enough to be there. I remember like the day where they were setting up a camera shot and we were all standing in line and one of the camera guys was like, Glenna, can you move to your left? So I moved to my left. I'm like starting to stand behind someone. And so I'm
mm,
great. Like they just want me to be behind someone. Like you're not even gonna see me. And and it's like, no, they moved you behind someone so that in the camera angle you could see me.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was like hard to differentiate that of like if they're not trying to hide you, they're trying to see you.
totally. Yeah, I mean, and I think that goes for a lot of things in life. Like for the most part, where people are always like championing for us, and people actually want us to succeed and do well and like be the best in any scenario, so that you can have the most fun, you can have the most rewarding work, or like the work can get done in the in a smooth, collaborative way. But like, what a insane experience that must have been being 15. at that time. And like, I mean, because like the show was one of my biggest jobs that I ever. It was the biggest job I had booked up until that point, and I was like, and I'm only like a year older than you. I'm like 10 years older than you. I was like 24 at the time, and it was big and it was scary for me as well. Like my very first day, I can't because for those of you who don't know, I played the school teacher, and I came in wearing a baseball cap and like had my face because it wasn't a real mustache. Spoiler. And spoiler. Can't grow it in real life. Spoiler. And um, I came in and people thought I was crew. And they
Oh yeah.
kept asking, yeah, they kept asking me to move to the side and be like, who's grabbing this, or could you help me with this? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then they were like, okay, we need the teacher to come to the front. And I like came to, like finagled my way past the people being like, excuse me, like around the camera. And then they were like, it's him, because I wasn't in costume, which was like also like one of those things too that that it wasn't a real mustache. You were shocked. I'm just reading the comments. The that you get imposter syndrome because you just like you just get scared because you love it so much and you want to do a really good job, but you all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, someone's going to come in here and tap me on the shoulder and be like, it wasn't that Glenna that we wanted the other Glenna. And you'd be like, oh, I understand, I totally understand, I'll eat
Yeah.
the lunch that I brought on my way home. I'll
No,
be fine.
you say you do the same scene times over, and then you do like one bad take, right? Who's gonna come in and you're like, I'm gonna be like, even though they're not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Or you start learning when you're on set that like you can mess up in a take and stop and start again, because we're not doing it live. It's not like this. And I'm pretty sure I like almost picked my nose there. Bad habit. But and we can't go back and edit it out. But when you make a little mistake, you can just stop and go again. But when you don't know those things, you think this is the end of the world. I'll never work again, and I'm going to be written out of the rest of the season.
No, I know. I think also like whenever we had those like lunch scenes of the girls in the corner, it would be,
To laugh.
oh my god, the amount of takes we ruined because someone would smile and it would just be like,
Who do you think was the most guilty of breaking, which is like laughing?
Kyla.
Kyla?
Kyla, 100%. But then once Kyla laughed, it was like, we're all goners. But honestly, Amy Bethan did really good at keeping a straight face. It was just like me, Miranda, Kyla, who would just mess up the whole scene. Stop laughing.
And who was the one cracking the jokes the most, or who is the troublemaker?
He like things that happen. There's one scene where we throw like acorns at Billy through the window, and I think I whipped this acorn, and it hit me right in the face because my head was out the window, and so it hit me, and I go, and I turned, which is like, but we're still filming, and we're all trying so hard not to laugh to the point where I had a straight face, but tears were streaming down my eyes. Like, stream.
Oh god, that's rich. That's so good. So out of all of the out of like all of the seasons, which would you say is your favorite scene that you got to shoot? Like what scene like sticks with you or pops up for you, or when if you ever go back and watch it, what scene is the one that you're like, yeah, I did that?
I think I have two,
Mm-hmm.
and they're season three. I really enjoyed season three a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're all great, but I really have season three. The first one I think would be Anne's surprise party, where you're sitting around this table eating all this food, and then it's like, Tilly's got a two-boy problem. Oh, that's not a problem.
Yes.
Funny, like just like I loved when I had the witty little lines that were so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like it was a hard scene because eating, I don't know if people might not know this, but in eating scenes they are so hard because you're eating well, you have to pick one thing or like pick a couple things and then you're eating them for the entire day.
Mm.
Because we used to do so many eating scenes in the lunch that by like season 3, we're like, okay, I'm going to pick this. And I remember Miranda was like, I'm going to pick strawberries because I'll always feel good eating a strawberry.
Yeah.
And cut to 30 takes later, and Miranda has eaten like 50 strawberries, and she's like, I can never eat one again.
What did you choose to eat?
I ate a scone, but I would put the scone here,
Oh,
and
like bitty scone bites?
I would
Mm,
feel like,
mm,
oh, eating seems but fun. But by yeah,
I mean, like for those of you who are not familiar with how the film industry works, is obviously you record it and you do multiple takes and you do multiple angles of the take and you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. So when you're doing an eating scene, you eat every single time you do a take, and you do multiple takes in each of the camera setups, and there could be 5 or 6 setups, and you could be doing 3 to 4 takes of those 5 to 6 setups. And I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to multiply those for you because I can't. But shouldn't have been a teacher. So if you choose to eat on your first go a huge meal, then you have to do that all those times. So now if you go back and watch a movie, I guarantee you, if someone's not eating something light, there will always be a full plate on full plate of food on the table or on wherever of what you're watching, because those actors did not want to eat that food.
yeah. Or another fun fact: sometimes there's spit buckets. I had to use a spit bucket once.
You did?
And
What were you eating that you did the spit bucket?
we were doing, I think it was like 2, and I'm not a picky eater, but like in our lunch boxes, it was always like cheese and crackers, and then like one little piece of like cake or something.
Oh, right,
And
because you had to be historically accurate.
so I was like, I'm not gonna eat that. I guess
Yeah.
I had cake, and it was like this ginger loaf that was so bad. Like it did not taste good. Like I had to do it like 30 times or 20 times, right? Would take this piece of ginger loaf, put it in my mouth, chew, like, and it yell like cut, and this lovely man would come over with a bucket, and I would just have to go and
I bet you there's somebody out there that would be like, I would have paid tons of money for Glenna's gingerbread spit bucket. There's totally people out there like that.
it was so gross. Every time I'd spit, I'd be like, I'm so sorry, and he's like, it's fine.
It's okay. I'm sure he's seen worse.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
so you actually had like just like the other students in the classroom, but you had a very unique experience of kind of like growing up on camera with being a teenager and then becoming a woman. What was that experience like, going from like season to season, coming back as a different person because so much growth?
Yeah,
Um,
it was definitely hard at first, the balancing school and then crazy hours on set, and then also wanting to be like a normal teenager who can just go hang out with friends whenever. But I think it's really helpful have everyone around me on set close to my age,
mm-hmm.
such good friends with them, and like having like best friends and family
Yeah.
in that. So I think it was just a lot easier to like know that we were all kind of going through it together.
Mm-hmm. Say
So
again.
we like all had each other.
Yeah.
So I think it wasn't too crazy. It really just was like overall one of the most amazing experiences.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm super grateful to have had it and to got to meet you and to work with you and all of our other wonderful castmates. Happy belated birthday, Amy Beth. I didn't mention.
Love you, AB.
Um,
No, like the craziest relationships can come out of like sets where our friendship, like I love you, you were one of my closest friends. And you know, like in like regular life, we probably never would have met or have become close.
mm-hmm.
and realize that we're like one and the same.
Truly. I mean, I remember, I remember they were doing press, and it was during a school day, and they went around and they asked us all, who's your favorite character on the show? And the interviewer was like, I know this is a really hard question because you love all of your students, but who's your favorite character? And I was like, Tilly. Like, before they even finished, I was like, she's hilarious.
I
She's so
know.
fun. And you were. I mean, I can't remember, like, I met you guys all in like one go in the rehearsal, so I didn't meet nobody like individually until afterwards. But when we had our like individual conversations, or when we'd be walking on the farm, and hilariously, if nobody, all these fans know, the schoolhouse and the Anna Green Gables house and the barn were all on one farm. So we would be on all of the sets all the time, because it was all just like in a little short walking distance. But you would always have hilarious um, these hilarious one-liners that just gutted me, because you're so funny and you just made that character so funny. So
Aw.
by
Well,
far my
character was I said Mr. Phillips, and we didn't even coordinate.
kindred spirits,
Hello.
meant to be. You were the only person who said Mr. Phillips was your favorite character. But maybe not the last. Looking at the comments, I'm like, oh, can't read that language, but it probably says Mr. Phillips. Just kidding. So now, like, let's talk about your journey deeper into the industry. So you started off on a whim, going to this casting call at school, you book the job, and then you decide, this is what I want to do. What were the next steps? How did things fall into place? How did you get an agent? Hi from Australia. And then how did you how did you continue to audition for other projects? Like, what was that journey?
Yeah, so the day that I got in with the knee, again, I ran back to my school so I could talk to my arts teachers. And I told them, I was like, oh my God, like, look at this email. I just booked it. And so the way I got my agency, like, I got my agent, was they had already, at my school, had a relationship with an agency.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, okay, we're going to get you an agent.
Yeah.
So I got my high school, which is a bit out of the ordinary. But like, absolutely love my agency. So a bit different. I like, because because I already had a job when I got the agent.
Mm-hmm.
But like coming from that, after that, it was just kind of like so brand new when she would send me like a breakdown. And I was like, well, what's a breakdown? And a breakdown is basically like when you get a tape, they'll tell you the character description, when they're filming,
Mm-hmm.
your pay. And it's like, it was just all brand new. But it was nice to be able to like, first off, like know people on Anne who could help me with,
Yeah.
and like pave my way through them. And just,
This is also a good reminder that, like, you can book a job without having an agent, and that's also a way to get an agent if you're interested in becoming an actor.
yeah.
But you're a great example of that.
And I even like, a lot of people always like, how do I get an agent? And I didn't do it the kind of like ordinary way, but I always tell people like, pick 2 monologues that are thing that you really like, film
Mm-hmm.
them, make your own little demo reel, and then send it to as many agencies as you possibly can, and try to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great advice.
I know, do 10 interviews with 10 different agencies, and
Yeah.
like most of the time they might already looks like you on their roster, or their roster is too big, and then it's kind of like, give them 6 months, reach out again,
Yeah.
kind of.
Follow up. Don't be shy. But I think people don't realize what a numbers game this is. There's so much rejection. There's way more rejection than there is, like, uh, uh, opportunities or green lights. Like,
Yeah.
even the fact that, people are like, oh my gosh, Glenna, I would love to see you in another show. Why aren't you doing anything? And you're like, it's not without a lack of effort. It's just happens to be the way the cookie crumbles, because you're constantly putting yourself out there and waiting
Yeah.
for the stars to align in a moment. So for those young people who are wanting to get into the industry, the numbers game of just getting yourself seen in as many areas as possible until someone takes the chance on you, because that's really what it is. You just need one person to open the door, and then you have a little bit of credit, and that credit can help you get into another door. But putting yourself out there, whether it's like in an email format or putting something on tape or going to a casting call or like an open class that has a casting director um, um, session attached to it, so that they might start to consider you for projects. There's so many ways to step into this industry, and I think it's a good thing for people to know that there isn't just one way. There's no formula on how to do it, and I think that's what's so interesting about your story is yours happened so organically and so early. Like you're not even the age I was when I did the show, and I'm like, God, I wish I would have done that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all different. And just like have to be okay with the word no, where it's not like you
Mm-hmm.
because you're bad.
Mm-hmm.
They see so many people during audition, and like 90% of those people are amazing actors. It can literally,
Mm-hmm.
as your eyes remind the director of their daughter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's such minuscule things and it's not you whatsoever.
So for any young like creators, filmmakers, storytellers here, what would be what would be the best piece of advice you've ever received that you'd like to give to them?
Ooh. I like one of my like favorite, because I can get super nervous before auditions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just, some advice that I've gotten is like going into an audition, don't like, don't like, it's, I don't even know how to like really word it, but like, don't plead for them. Like, make them want you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in being like, please cast me, please do this, that, don't do that. Go in, be as confident as you are, be yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just make them want you. And so want you, and that's okay because you're to yourself, and that's all that matters.
Beautiful advice. And just think about that trajectory from your first day on set being like, I don't know what I'm doing, someone's going to come fire me, to you living in this power now.
You
Like
know,
that's
hello.
fun up. That's really beautiful, and I'm really happy to hear that for you. Because you have been doing some amazing things recently. Do you want to tell people about the other projects that you've been up to since, and so they can see your amazing face and other stuff?
It's been great. I worked on, it was so small, but I on 2 episodes of the Netflix show Grand Army. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really great show and really important show for teenagers. And
You had
I,
to sign for that too, right?
pardon?
You had to learn. You had to
Oh,
sign.
I did like weeks to learn how to sign my whole monologue, which is really cool.
And you had never done it before.
No, never.
Oh my God.
So cool. That. And then I was on a show called Watch Last Man that I would recommend everyone to watch. There's a season, but it is the most show for Canadians. It's on, you can buy it on Apple TV. For Americans, on Hulu and Disney Plus. And I
Okay.
think other parts of the world it's on Disney Plus as well. But
Mm.
it's off the DC comic book where called Y the Last Man, where everything with the Y chromosome dies, so all male species except for one guy. But so then everything that's left is like women and trans men, and it is the coolest show. I had so much fun working on it. All of the directors were females. The showrunner was a woman. It was just this powerful, powerful group, and I think it really shows on camera. So you guys should check that out.
You've been lucky to be on like two pretty feminist, like women-driven projects that are like reaching for positive change.
Oh my
Like,
god, it makes like the biggest difference on set.
yeah.
I love
What
it.
in what ways do you see that difference?
I think it was just like even like on Anne with an E and Why the Last and my kind of cohort, like my group, were all women. So on Anne, it was us girls. On Why the Last Man, it's me and another group of women. And I
Mm-hmm.
think just like group setting, just you always feel safe, always feel comfortable. You always feel like you can speak up.
Mm,
Like it's truly like a beautiful experience.
mm. Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful. So as you're moving forward, um, and you have this beautiful career ahead of you,
Oh, thank
why
you.
don't we manifest your dream role as you share what that would be? Like, what is your ultimate story character?
My like dream role, I think, would be the lead in a rom-com.
Mm,
And like a really cute, I absolutely love rom-coms, but I just would love to be in a rom-com as a plus size woman where
yeah.
this isn't about my weight, where it's not like a how could he love her when she looks like that, or
Hmm.
does she change for him, where it
Yeah.
literally has nothing to do about anyone's bodies. It's just a beautiful love, and that would be my dream.
Mm. I mean, I think that is actually the key to change. That is the key to making our world more beautiful and more open, is creating content and projects that aren't focused on people who have seen adversity, like struggle, or us commenting on the fact of this is what this type of movie is. Whether it is being like this, we're making a movie about a plus size person, and the whole movie's about them being plus size. No, let's actually have a normal movie about normal people, and this is who we've cast. And it has nothing to do with the plot. The same thing has to go for queerness. The same thing goes to like ethnicities, any of it. The
And
less we make it a big, like the less we like focus on um, like carving out how we're like making this movie important, like kind of the less important it becomes, because uh, we don't digest it in the same way. We
yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Yeah, so that would be my dream.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I feel like since we've been on here for a while, um, I mean, this is also our first Instagram live. If anybody has any, we could do a spitfire round
Okay.
question for the audience. If you have any questions for Glenna, type them up right now, and she will answer them as they come. And if she misses it, doesn't say it, type it one more time, and we'll do this for like the next 5 minutes, and then we can have a little wrap up. So it's like the Glenna free for all, as these hearts are going. So, anybody have any questions for our incredible Glenna Walters? Who are you closest to on the show?
That's literally like picking a favorite child. I couldn't. I absolutely love my girls. I loved everyone on that set, but my core group of girls, I would never pick a favorite.
I'm considered one of those girls. What is your favorite memory from set?
Favorite memory from set, I think one of like it happened a lot, but Miranda and I were always the oldest girls.
Mm,
Um, our age, but we were always Amy Beth was always like the big, always had the lines. And so Kyla and Leah would always be cut, and it would just be me and Miranda as like blurry blobs in the background. And I think those were always the best times where it didn't matter what we were doing, it was just body space.
love. I'm happy with this question. Favorite memory of Mr. Phillips?
Does it have to be Mr. Phillips or can it be just you?
Huh? Interpret the question as you please. This is your answer.
Um, I think like they're so. Oh, I loved when we did the pantomime. That
Ah,
is the best, where I could watch you do your little like scene. I loved watching you practice that. That was like the best thing ever.
you were an angel on that one. That was a lot of fun. I missed some of these questions. I feel like one of them was, uh, which character do you feel most closest to in real life? Like if you were them.
Oh, that's so hard. I feel like I can see myself in so many of the characters. Like I brought a lot of myself to Billy.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
of course you did. Yeah.
Not as shy. I would say like maybe like a hopeless romantic.
Which, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's lovely. We
Yeah,
all love a bleeding heart.
I
Um,
know.
this one is any embarrassing moments or most embarrassing moment on set.
Most important moment the next year when we graduated school.
Uh,
It was probably like 3 a.m. and we were all like, they were setting up, they were doing a setup. I don't even know if I've told you the story.
I don't know.
And
I don't think so.
near the end of 3, we found out that the craft truck can make milkshakes. So every day on set, we were like, please make us milkshakes. So it was like 3 a.m. We're all dead. And like someone like yells, there's milkshakes at the craft truck. So we all like, like walking slash running. And we're like in the middle of nowhere. And I didn't notice this huge ditch. And running. And I completely rolled my ankle.
Oh, for the milkshake.
On the ground, I was sobbing. The medics had to come.
No.
And then we had to keep, and they kept me and Miranda the latest out of everyone other than Amy, Beth, and Lucas. So I was like tears streaking, makeup had to be touched up, and we're about to shoot again. I like can't ankle. Like Delila's so sweet and comes up to me and asks if I'm okay. We're sobbing all over. So I think in one of the crane shots, when I'm in the background, I'm like fully sobbing.
That's an incredible Easter egg. But the real question is, was the milkshake worth it?
Yeah, it was so worth it.
Would you roll your ankle again?
Yeah. Hard pass. I did it like a month ago.
You went with your instinct. You can't take it back.
Sorry. Yeah.
You can't take it back. How many takes did the dance scene take from the lovely
That,
Brit?
the dance scene, was that like the one of us in the schoolhouse?
Probably the one in with yeah, season
That
3.
was a long day. That like small scene of us dancing, it took us the entire day of dancing on our feet, remember the dance, and the most uncomfortable 1800 shoes. And it was like August, and there was no, so like probably 9 hours.
That's a lot to be in those costumes too at that time of year. Like, how did people do it before?
I don't know. I had pads because I would be sweating. Like, I have like 8 layers on.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. I think we'll go on to a final question, which I actually really like this question, which was, what was your biggest takeaway from your experience of Anne?
I have like 2 takeaways. My takeaway is just
Miranda! Jesus, Miranda's here!
Miranda, I just told them the story about how I sprained my ankle running for a milkshake.
Miranda, request to join. What? I think can we do 3?
I don't know. Miranda, love you. I'm wearing our necklace, babe.
That's so cute. I'm obsessed with this. Hi, Miranda. I'm so sorry. Your biggest takeaway experience from the experience of Anne.
Smallest takeaway, I'm doing 2. Smallest was just the confidence I found of being on set and knowing what I'm doing. Not even like acting wise, just like now I go to set and I'm not nervous. I know what the day's gonna look like. I know what it means. I don't even know camera lingo right now, but I and my biggest takeaway is just the friends I've made. And we like all of us, we always talk about it where it's like we can like not really talk for like a month or 2 and then we talk like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
For my friends, I love you, Steven.
I love you.
Stay for me.
We'll be back. We'll work together again.
But no, I really takeaway was just the family I've made.
Oh, that is really the core of like what it means to be a human being, is having a sense of community. And I think that's also what the core of art is community, because it wouldn't exist if there weren't people. Like, there would be no reason for us to talk if it wasn't for the wonderful people listening at this moment or who watch the show. It's a collective experience because we're all just looking to make the world a little bit better. Yeah, the mustache was fake. Um, you can't you can't tell. But the I think that's a really lovely note to leave on, is just acknowledging that community is everything. And for me, I would say the same thing. Is just the wonderful people who we got to meet that are now like family, lifelong friends, and
Yeah.
best friends. And it's something that I get, like we get to keep. Not only does the audience get to keep the art that was made, but we get to keep the relationships that were built, and that's really nice. What life makes life worth living. Yeah. So thank you, Glenna, for coming. That value prop of community is one of the essentials within the Kino community. This is a first of many talks that we will have to continue to branch it out. But once again, Kino is a platform that democratizes film, protecting artists' rights and making sure that those who are making the movies are being compensated properly, but also championing diverse and untold stories that make a difference. Something like Anne makes a difference, and that's the kind of content that Kino is going to be creating again. So thank you for coming on. If you guys like this, let us know, and maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we'll get Miranda up here as well,
Oh,
and then you can take the leads and you can do the interview, and I'll just sit back and have a milkshake.
uh, too soon. And too.
Too soon. Well, love you all for coming. Thank you so much. Please be sure to check out Kino, and thank you again for watching, and it meant a lot to us.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Love you all. Have beautiful, safe days. Be kind.
Bye.